Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit Zappy here, back again with Chainsaw Man Season 1. We are on episode 4. In the last episode, Denji got betrayed again. I mean, I guess, you know, in some aspects it's like, I guess in episode 2, it's not that he was really betrayed, it's just that Aki was just, you know, he's Mr. Serious, isn't he? And he thinks that Denji isn't taking it serious. But, like, it's just like every episode, somebody does him in when Denji's not expecting it. And episode 3 was no different. Power, our little fiend friend, was essentially coerced into, you know, retrieving her cat that she grew really attached to by giving this bat devil a sacrifice. And, like, you know, so for a trade, Power gave Denji to the bat devil. And essentially to regrow his arm, right? He needed blood and whatnot to regrow his arm and everything and become fully healed, and then he can go and terrorize the world in whichever way that he wants. But of course, you know, as you should never do, is trust devils. The bat devil eats the cat. It is in a cage, so I'm guessing it's going to be alright. And then promptly eats Power as well. The issue that he's, like, I mean, the thing is that he's swallowed them whole. So it's not like, I don't know exactly the rules and whatnot, because to me, I thought it was blood that, you know, and he even talks about blood as well when he's like, when he's swallowing them whole, but surely he's not actually getting blood from them at all. I guess that was something I didn't actually talk about and was kind of wondering about in like the post-discussion for last episode. But it is a bit weird. Like, if it's blood that is the requirement for healing a devil, then he hasn't actually gained any blood aside from what he got from Denji. So, I don't know. It's a weird one and very, very interesting. But, I don't know. We'll see. Regardless, Denji, you know, came to the rescue, turned into Chainsaw Man, and took him on. And, you know, I think we ended him cutting him open. We saw his intestines fall and spill all over the ground. So I think, you know, Denji has managed to save Power and the cat, and in which case Power will be forever grateful. I think that's what I'm guessing anyway. We'll see. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else to really talk about. So we are going to get into episode 4. So as always, the reaction will be here on YouTube, but for whatever reason it gets taken out for copyright in the future, I'll re-upload this as a discussion only, and a link to the reaction will be in the description below. As always, a link to the full-length reaction to this episode is in the description below, so if you do want to watch my full-length reaction to this episode, not just the cut 10-minute version, then the offer is there for you. But yeah, nothing else really to talk about, so you are going to get in episode 4, see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Oh god. Back with Power again. There's no mention of them getting stronger the more they eat either, is there? I'm not sure that's a thing. Yeah, until you kill it and then it becomes cold. Oh wow. What an image that is. Oh god. Of course it is. Just give me a feel. Give me Oh my god. Jesus. For God's sake. Oh god, this one's got udders. I don't think he's going to have enough in him to go again. That kind of boobs that he wants to be funneling, I can tell you that. Oh god, he's going again. I don't know how much more blood he can lose, man. Oh, not enough. He's only got like a little Pachita one. We're right back into it again. Oh, Christ. The animation never lets up, man. Oh shit, he blocked it! Oh, massive of that. Well, our dream's not gonna come true. I like how he used the hit to get up there. He's serious about it. Dude, it's insane how in 4 episodes there's this much good animation. Oh my god, he's using the intestines. Nice. Dude, so resourceful. He'd sucker punched a bit there, like. Demoniacal. Is that it? It's just like a different stage he goes at. Oh shit, he got impaled. He's like a... Oh, Aki, you see at the same day? Fuck. Oh my god, he uses devils. Rookies. They figured that out quick, didn't they? Jeez. Oh wow, different accounts. But there was more positive than negative. Alright, he's being nice. Yeah, that's the distinction. So I don't know, has he sealed? Like, con, I'm guessing? And so he can let it loose whenever?
Denji はチェーンソーとなってコウモリの悪魔を駆除後、今度はヒルの悪魔の襲撃を受けましたが、こちらは我々4課が駆除しました。
デンジ君とパワーちゃん、知らず知らずのうちにそんなに遠くまで行っちゃったんだ。
He can't get anything past.
結果として悪魔2体の駆除もできましたから、不問にしてよろしいかと。
早川君も少し頭が柔らかくなった。
Yeah.
デンジ君と一緒に住んでる影響。
Of course he knows. He just thinks that it's better for Denji and Power to be alive to make use of them rather than them getting done in, you know? Because obviously he saw the positive accounts that the civilians were giving. See, look at that. Like, that kind of information. That kind of animation for just him walking out onto his balcony. Like, look at him. He's bandaged up. He's going to be a mummy at some point, you know? Like, there's going to be a time where he physically can't give up anymore. Duh. Oh, it's Power. She come to live here? Yeah.
なんで俺の家にヤバいやつばかり集めるんですか。
私が早川君を一番に信用しているからだよ。
She doesn't want normal food.
野菜は嫌いじゃ。はい。
人参。野菜を投げるな。
I like that from Denji.
クソはたまにしか流さんはじゃ。
流せ。
せんだよ。うろはたまにしか入らんはじゃ。
入れ。くせんだよ。
Oh, fondle. It's gonna.
これどうした？嬉しいじゃろ。もめもめ。
Ridiculous one.
胸を揉んでいい回数は3もみじゃ。
3. I'm sure he was only looking for 1, really. So he's gotten 2 extras. Far from it. Okay, episode 4. Madness. I can't believe that this show, 4 episodes in, and like every episode, the animation quality like just doesn't let up. It's not very often you see shows like this. Like, there will be periods like where, you know what I mean, like where they hold out like on the animation and use it for specific moments, but like, you know, you're talking about so many fights that have happened in just 4 episodes, and the animation is just really, really spot on. It's so good. But like, this is the thing, it's not even using it for just the fights. I said like during the episode, like there's like, obviously when Aki's like doing his like morning routine and he goes out onto the balcony, like the animation is so spot on just for that. So the effort put into the show. I mean, not only that, but they've animated a different ending for every episode and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like it's nuts. The money pumped into the show, them it must be significant, and I hope the animators are getting paid dutifully for it, because honestly, I think Mappa's doing an incredible job with this so far. So we started off. We had that little sort of moment with Power, like beforehand, like back when she was in her like sort of fiend stage and whatever. And I thought we were going into like when she met up with Makima and whatnot, but it doesn't seem that way. And I don't know if that'll, if we'll get that information in the future, and we'll get to see that. But it just sort of gave us just a little taste again of what like she. Like that bond that she had with the cat, so that when it finally comes back to current time, like you've got that sort of that frame, like that scene where they're basically lying within the stomach of this bat devil, and she's clinging on. So clearly she could move at that point, and then obviously once Chainsaw Man Denji gets her out of there, she's just completely laying on the floor. I thought it would, like, I don't know how she can't move. Like, that wasn't specified why, right? I'm not an idiot. Like, there wasn't like some crazy fucking like power the Bat Devil have to incapacitate. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's just like because she couldn't move like before she got eaten in the last episode, right? Like she was just like stood there. So I guess it I don't know. Like, but then there's nothing like, I don't know. Like there was nothing. There wasn't anything physically wrong with her, is what I'm saying, right? But the mental side of her was keeping her that way. I don't know, because if that was the case, then you would have thought that she would be the one to save Denji in that situation. But never mind. So it wasn't actually her that came to Denji's rescue in the end, but it was Aki instead. I think probably for the benefit of Denji, it was Aki rather than Power, because if Power had saved him there would have been no guarantee of fondling her tits after the fact, like after that, So I think Denji would have very much appreciated that Aki turned up, at the cost of some of his flesh, by the way, because seemingly every time he wants to use a devil, he has to give up some of his body to the devil that he's using in order to use them, which is crazy. Like, it's sort of like the opposite of a shonen hero, where like you can imagine, like, because obviously over the course of time, generally in shonens, like, the protagonist gets stronger and stronger. Now I could see that with Denji, of course, but like it's interesting that aside from that, Aki's like the opposite, that like there's only a certain amount he can go to with like using devils, because he has to give up bits of his body every time he wants to use them. I would have thought it would have I guess they want it as food form and not like drink form, so you could like I don't know, there's no way that you could offer up blood instead, because at least you can regain you can regain blood over time. But like if you're literally given like skin and whatnot, like you're gonna have, you know what I mean, like it depends on how much. The fact that like his whole arm was bandaged like leads me to believe that it's not like a nipple. You know what I mean? It's like it's got to be like a decent amount of bloody flesh. So I don't know, man. But it is interesting, the fact that he can only use that as well, and the fact that he used a bit of it to save Denji as well, I think speaks a lot. But I think that was probably after the fact. After well, that's the thing. I don't know if those accounts that were given from the people, right, that were saying, you know what I mean, I want to thank Chainsaw Man and whatnot, like I don't know if that was before he turned up. I think it must have been, right? So that wasn't the reason for saving him. He was just doing, trying to save him at that point, and then after the fact, that's when he found out about the positive accounts and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, the thing is with like Aki is like he's very routine, he's very matter of fact. But he talks about like when he's in like next to Denji in the hospital bed and whatnot, and he talks like I have a very good grasp on social ethics and whatnot, and he can understand right from wrong. And so when he gets those positive accounts, there is one negative there, but you know, the majority is positive, so therefore, you know, he takes into account, and therefore he will protect him from, you know, getting, you know, executed and you know, removed from the world. So yeah, I mean, it was just like a chain. It was like a chain of like it all went from like Denji was protecting Power, Aki was protecting Denji, and then by proxy Power, and then Makima was protecting Aki, who was protecting Denji and Power by you know what I mean? Because obviously, like when Aki went and gave the debrief or whatever to Makima immediately, of course, the way that she is, she's a character that just can see through, like nothing can get past her. So, you know, she, like, the fact is that Makima, like, she trusts Aki totally 100%. And therefore, you know what I mean? Like, Makima's sort of, like, she might have thought that, like, okay, they've gone way too far here and actually gotten rid of them. I don't know, but it's possible that Makima could have thought that way. But Aki was the one that stuck his neck out for them, so therefore Makima was like, okay, fine. But, and you know, sort of at a cost of that, Power now is living with Aki and Denji as well. So poor Aki, man. But yeah, I just love the fact. I love the fact that in that moment when Power's like, you know, when she's like going to live with them, that actually Denji and Aki are so like similar in regards. You know what I mean? Because Denji, you know what I mean, he doesn't want waste of food at all, right? Like it's obviously generally considered like a normal thing that a lot of, like, I mean, she has a very sort of childlike personality anyway, but like, you know, that, you know, vegetables are considered not the greatest of food for a lot of people, right? It doesn't have the greatest taste and whatnot. But because Denji has had nothing but, you know, the lowest forms of food, like just like stale bread and whatnot to live off, that, like, you know what I mean, that anything, like he appreciates any type of food, you know. And so, like, kind of interestingly enough, even though Aki sees Denji as like kind of a bit of this like sort of idiot and whatnot, he does generally follow like the same sort of like he'll eat all of the food that Aki makes for him. You know what I mean? I know that like when he first turned up in the house, he was very much like annoying and whatnot, like slapping the side of the bath and things like that. You know, but you know, using all of the toilet roll. But like, I mean, Power's on a different level. Like, she doesn't flush, she doesn't want to bathe all the time, she doesn't want to eat vegetables. It's just like, God, like Aki needs to put up with a lot. But I suppose like the power, like the sort of like command, the chain of command is almost like, you know, Aki is like now force this thing on with Denji, like, you know what I mean, I'll protect you, but you have to literally you have to listen to what I say, okay? So now Denji's totally under Aki, and then by extension again, just like the chain of protect thing that I said before, like, it's like, you know, Power, because you know, she feels, I don't even know if I want to say indebted, because the way that, like, she is obviously talking about the fact, well, you've got 3 squeezes, right? It's like, well, then after that, it's like we're even, almost, right? But then this is the thing, like, it's hard to really suggest that there's any underlying thing there. I talked about, like, at the beginning of the episode about how, like, you know, Denji's going on about fondling tits and whatnot, and that's what he wants to do, right? And I was talking about there's possibly more underneath that is just, like, what his real intentions are. Like, his like, are there more sort of, like, is there more sort of good intentions that are aside from just wanting to fondle tits underlying, right? That maybe he doesn't even know, but like just generally like what his he lands on the side of good, right? So like whatever he's doing, like, you know, if he sees what, because this just doesn't come out of nowhere either, by the way. This was from a comment that came in the last episode about, like, you know, there's got to be like reasons as to why he jumped in to fight the Bat Devil, right? And it wasn't just the fact that he wanted to fondle tits, even though that's what he said, but that, you know, he saw that there was a similarity there between him and Pochita, kind of thing, right? Between Power and the cat. So, you know, that was like an underlying factor that he didn't burst out loud, like, you know, it wasn't something that was said, but it's possibly there's an underlying thing there. So, you know, similarly, I wonder if there's a thing with Power where even if he has fondled her tits 3 times after the fact, is it just a case of Power doesn't like save Denji's life in a threatening situation? You know what I mean? So it's like we're talking about possible friends for life situation here, but there's time to go, so we never know. But we'll have to just wait and see on that. Talking about the three squeezes, I don't know. Are they like wishes? I know that's a weird thing to say, but it's like, well, obviously the three wishes thing. We've all heard about that, the genie and whatnot, right? But like, I wonder if it's a thing of like, because we haven't seen it yet, we haven't seen it play out. And the fact is, we were about to see it play out before the fucking Leech Devil showed up, by the way. It just makes me think that, right, what's going to get in the way to stop him from fondling a breast this time? But I just wonder, imagine it. I can imagine, a situation, where he has to, before he goes into a fight or something, he fondles her breast and all of a sudden, he gets, more sort of powerful, or he's more up for the fight kind of thing, So in, regards to that, would it be, a three wishes situation? I don't know, because they're in the toilet together there, and it's like she's offering up, right, you get to fondle my chest. But is it going to be a thing of, you fondle it once, and then you have two more chances at other times, or is it just three? Because what do you class as three separate fondles? How long is a fondle? Do we know? These are the questions that need answering. Anyway, so the Leech Devil fight, incredible. Again, I've talked about the animation in this show. This is the thing. They are. I'm sure at some point there was 3D animation there, but I couldn't even tell a difference. So if there was, put it this way, if it was all 2D. The effort gone into that is ridiculous. If there was actual 3D in there, I could not even distinguish. So I mean, it's ridiculous that this show, man, the show, animation's out of this world, man. But there was a moment where he went into demoniacal phase. Something that Power called out. She would obviously know about this because it's obviously something that only devils can do, I assume. It's got to be a state of out of control, right? Or a state of, where... Because the one thing I found interesting was after the fight, when Aki picked him up, he was... Denji was going, a bit my dream fight and whatnot, right? He was completely out of it. You could have literally put it down to the fact that he literally got beaten to hell, that his eye was almost popping out, so maybe his brain just wasn't truly, you know what I mean? But I wonder if demoniacal thing is a phase of, it's not just a case of, right, he's out of control and he's going crazy, but that maybe, there's a goal in mind when you go demoniacal where, that's your focus for that moment or whatever, because it seemed as though the one thing that he took into... it was the whole dream, right, we'll fight for our dreams kind of thing that he wanted, right, between them, and we'll see which one's more thing, because he's got this thing, right, where obviously he thinks that, fondling tits is yeah, right, to you it might not seem like a big dream, but I take my dream as seriously as you take your dream, but you know what I mean, you just don't understand. So I don't know, I could be, thinking way too far ahead, and the idea of demoniacal something way more than it actually is, and realistically it's just a state where he's out of control. But yeah, I mean, it definitely seemed like he was just... It was that moment where he was laughing, and he was maniacally laughing. Demoniacal makes sense in that regard. It's maniacal, isn't it? It's it's totally you're in a state of psychosis where you're just loving the fact that you're causing violence and whatnot, and similarly I think he must have went demoniacal in the first episode, because I'm sure he was enjoying it at one point. I think it was after he took care of the zombie devil and there was still zombies around that he was going crazy and he was loving it, right? But I think that was him letting out all of the anger and rage and whatnot of everything that his life has been shit this whole time, and people have looked down on him and everything, and so he was just getting that out then. But yeah, that's an interesting new sort of feature, I guess, of the whole all of the devils and whatnot. And I'm sure because the fact that Power was able to pick up on it means that she has probably done it at one point, and then therefore other devils can as well. So yeah, I mean, we'll have to keep that in mind, because I'm sure other devils will probably bring that out at some point. we got a bit of a look at what Aki called Division 4, which I don't know if that's just the one woman with the eye patch, Himeno, and the 2 rookies who didn't get named. But Aki was sort of leading them. But it's sort of, yeah, it's like interesting because Aki is a part of the what was it? The experimental division, right? It's yeah, because the experimental unit's Aki's unit as well, right? So I don't know if it was just a case Aki like was temporarily leading this unit or whatnot, just for this one thing. Obviously because, you know, Denji and Power are actually a part of his unit, therefore he was obviously tasked with going out and seeing what the hell was going on. But yeah, so I don't know if he's actually a part of Division 4 or not. And that's the thing, like, what's the difference between a unit and a division? Is there a difference? It's hard to know, because Division 4 could be a part of Aki's unit, but it's just like a sort of like a side piece. You know what I mean? I don't know the ins and outs of that. So yeah, I think I've got everything there. The Fox Devil, like Kon, I'm guessing is, I don't know, that's just the name of it, or that's the summoning thing. It is interesting, like, that whole thing. I don't know if it's a case of, like, it's sealed, and you know, Aki is able to bring it out whenever, because it looked like it came out of nowhere. You know, it looked like it, like, essentially, like, sprung out of nothing. Because we didn't see it approach, but I don't know if that's just a fact of, like, just making it a shock entrance, right? But yeah, because that's the thing, is, like, the interesting thing, like, you know, like, Power's not sealed, and neither is Denji, so it just makes me think that there's this fucking big fox devil what just roaming beside, and also, like, what like, how do you have that power over the thing? You know, if it wasn't sealed, how would you have that power over it? How would you be able to actually have a contract with it? See, this is the thing, is like, there's a lot of similarities between this and Jujutsu, right? Like, because if there is whole things with, like, contracts with devils that, like, are Gyas's, where, you know, if you walk up to a devil and you offer up a contract, then the devil is more inclined to actually go along with the contract rather than just straight up just eat you, because why wouldn't he? You know, like, why? Because that's the thing, because then otherwise, if this fox devil was not sealed and pretty much under control of Aki to bring out whenever he sees fit, then what's to stop the fox devil from just eating Aki? You know, what's to stop him from doing that? So it's these are the questions I need answered, because that changes a lot of things. Because it just makes me think, like, if there's if there's some way to seal devils and whatnot away and, like, bring them out whenever you need them, then why would they have Denji and Power just roaming around? And rather, like, you can just seal them, and then when you need them, use them. You know. So I don't know. It's interesting, like. That's the dilemma that I have. Because otherwise you would just seal Denji and Power and use them. So that makes me feel like there's not a seal. But then that means the Fox Devil just roaming around. There has to be something with just contracts then. There has to be. Like, that just has to be a thing. I'm guessing a Gyas type thing actually isn't the case, because then otherwise Power, like, the time when the Bat Devil obviously took the cat away, they would have a contract where you would have to give the cat back to me. Because he didn't, he would have to be punished, right? So I guess that's not a type of thing, but, like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know, it's interesting, man. There are questions that need answered, and I'm sure we'll get them in time. But yeah, we'll just wait for that. But that is all I've got. So thank you everyone for watching. In the description below, I have links to certain things over on my Patreon. There's a bunch of different tiers there that you can have a look at. There's the early access tier, gives you access to reactions a week early. There's the full length tier, which gives you access to all the full length reactions that I do, and then there's the exclusive tier, which gives you access to the full length movie reactions and everything like that. So of course I've just reacted to the newest My Hero movie. It's been out a while, but it's the World Heroes Mission movie. Really enjoyed that. You can get over there and watch my full-length reaction to that with that tier. But anyway, yeah, that's all I've got, so thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.